Helt and Park are being pursued by Keter's men. Like rabid hyenas, they fire small-caliber pistols and machine guns at the rear window of the rover as Helt and Park flee at breakneck speed along the cracked, sandy road. One of the matte black SUVs finally roars past on the left, slamming into the side of the rover with a thunderous crash and forcing it off the road.
Whoa, can't the German Secret Service handle a car chase with a bit more finesse?
As Helt struggles to get the vehicle back on track, he responds defiantly.
If you'd prefer to drive, go ahead. That would give me the chance to calmly write the mission report in the back seat.
Barely after he says this, Helt spots a massive and menacing drone on the horizon, equipped with a swiveling mount holding two modified RPG-18 anti-tank weapons, hurtling toward them. The four pursuers fall back slightly, wary of a potential explosion from a drone strike. After a brief moment of shock, Helt regains his focus, his mind racing for a strategy to evade the deadly weapon. Nearby, he notices a green oasis of bushes and trees standing out against the barren steppe landscape and steers directly toward it.
Jinwoo, as soon as we reach the cover of the greenery, you jump out of the car.
What? That can't be serious.
Your choice. Stay in the car and pray or jump off. I'm activating the cruise control now. Fate will decide our destiny.
At the same moment, the two rocket launchers detach from the drone with a loud hiss, hurtling relentlessly and lethally toward the rover. As soon as the vehicle reaches the green zone, the two men fling open the doors and leap into the thick underbrush. The dense foliage breaks their fall with a loud rustling and cracking sound. The rover rolls forward a few more meters before an ear-splitting explosion engulfs it in a fireball. Motionless and nearly invisible, the two remain hidden in the dense bushes as their pursuers approach in their vehicles and step out. Spotting the burned-out wreck, barely recognizable as a rover, they return to their cars. Convinced that Helt and Park couldn't have survived, they leave the scene. After several moments of silence, Park's voice is heard, calling from the bushes.
Adrian, are you okay?
All good, I just look like a botanical garden invited to a gala.
What a surprise. The only good thing about this mess is that it shredded that brown suit I've been feeling uncomfortable in the whole time anyway.
The two brush branches and leaves off their clothes and, looking like a pair of drifters, set off toward Nairobi as dusk begins to fall. After nightfall, the landscape is filled with the eerie melody of chirping crickets and buzzing insects, occasionally interrupted by the sinister laughter and howls of hyenas.
So this isn't exactly how I imagined serving as an assistant agent, or is this just a regular day in the life of a German Dachimawali?
Save your breath for the journey to Nairobi. Only when we reach the outskirts of the city will we no longer be an easy meal for the wild animals around here.
Mealtime? Lions, snakes, and hyenas? Anything else, perhaps?
Don't be such a wimp. So far, you've been doing great as my personal mission strategist. You can handle a few more kilometers of tough mudder.
As soon as I have Wi-Fi again, or at least paper and a pen, I'm quitting. You can count on it.
After another hour of walking, the two reach another green patch.
Wait here for a moment, I need to take care of something.
Nervous bladder. All right, but hurry up. Even with a secret agent by my side, I don't feel particularly safe here.
Park reluctantly sits down under a bush while Helt vanishes into the darkness. The surroundings grow quiet, with only the chirping of crickets breaking the silence. Suddenly, two large, menacing eyes appear in the dark. A deep roar cuts through the night air. Park freezes, his breath catches, as a massive figure slowly approaches. With terror-filled eyes, he realizes it's an overwhelmingly powerful lion. In a barely audible whisper, Park says,
Adrian?
His voice trembles with panic. The lion, ready to pounce, pauses briefly, its muscular shoulders taut. The explosive tension between predator and man seems to freeze time. Park closes his eyes, certain these must be his final moments. A loud crack shatters the unbearable silence between Park and the beast. Two gunshots echo through the night, the muzzle flash briefly illuminating the darkness behind Park. The lion flinches, lets out a deafening roar, and retreats in shock before vanishing into the shadows. Helt steps out of the darkness with a calm expression, the weapon still in his hand. Park slowly opens his eyes, his body still paralyzed with fear.
I hope you don't quit too soon. I still need your help.
I definitely deserve a better job.
After another hour of walking, the two finally reach the outskirts of Nairobi. Shortly after midnight, they find themselves at the reception desk of the Hemingway's Hotel. Following a phone call with Werner, it takes less than 20 minutes before the young receptionist, Riziki, who welcomed them on their arrival day, appears in the hotel lobby. With a friendly smile on her face, she guides them to her car.
We're heading to my apartment. There, you'll have access to a laptop and a secure internet connection. Further instructions will be sent to your work phone.
The young woman's apartment is a little gem. Riziki's flat is small, modern, and filled with light, featuring succulents on the windowsill and warm beige tones throughout. An open kitchen with light wood countertops transitions into the living area, which feels cozy with a functional couch and colorful accents. A small desk with a laptop reflects her modern and ambitious lifestyle, while macrame and handcrafted details add charm to the space. After Park retrieves Keter's phone data using the laptop, he eagerly calls Helt over, who is enjoying a cup of Kenyan tea with Riziki.
I found something interesting. Keter has been texting frequently with someone named Dmitri Korovin on Telegram over the past few days. The signature suggests that Korovin was located in the southern part of Amman, in the Abdun district.
After passing the information to Werner over the phone and spending a short night on Riziki's couch, the Kenyan sun shines through the window onto Helt's face. At the same moment, his work phone rings. On the line is Werner.
Helt, we have finalized your new mission parameters. Korovin is married to a significantly younger Bulgarian woman. Her name is Elena. She lives with him in a luxurious and well-guarded house in the wealthy district of Abdun, as your young companion has already discovered. She doesn't seem to be very involved in Korovin's business dealings and works there as a kind of tour guide for foreign tourists. She is arranged through the well-known cafe and restaurant Wild Jordan Center in the area. You, Helt, should become a regular there starting tomorrow and try to win the favor of the young woman, however you manage that. Gather as much information as possible about Korovin and his activities in Jordan. Unfortunately, you'll have to do without Park there. Since you are already well known to Volkov and her partners, we can't risk drawing too much attention. A lone German in that area will surely be less of a topic of conversation than a Korean-German male duo. Tell Park that we will make sure to show our gratitude for his support.
Got it, all right.
Helt answers and sets the phone aside. Just an hour later, the two men find themselves once again in the main hall of Nairobi's airport.
Adrian, I'm really going to miss you. I've been living a colorful and turbulent life since my youth, but these past few days with you were pure action cinema.
Helt hugs Park and responds.
Don't think you've completely gotten rid of me yet. I've slowly gotten used to you, and Werner doesn't seem to mind you getting occasional glimpses into the workings of the BND, at least as long as you're useful to him.
Just give me a call. You've got my number. Conqueror of the Kenyan killer lion.
Helt smirks, and the two part ways, heading to their respective gates. As Helt reaches the waiting area for his flight to Jordan, he notices a group of passengers gathered around one of the monitors at the gate. Curious, he steps closer and sees the red breaking news banner of the Kenyan news channel Citizen TV Kenya. The news anchor announces,
Last night, a coup d'etat took place in Guinea-Bissau. A strategically coordinated and synchronized army of armored vehicles, robots, and drones neutralized the head of state as well as all key administrative, military, and police institutions. Subsequently, the advanced military machines escorted the new leaders to their designated locations. Shortly after sunrise, these leaders announced the systemic transformation of the state and a new governmental order. The operation was so precise and powerful that neither the population nor subordinate state institutions offered any resistance. Western countries have already responded by refusing to recognize the new government.
Held does not show the tension caused by the unexpected news and returns to the gate waiting area. After a layover in Keter and a total of 10 long hours of travel, Helt arrives in the early evening at Queen Alia International Airport in Amman. The temperatures are pleasant and the sun has already set. Helt steps through the automatic doors and is greeted by the vastness of the terminal. The vaulted ceiling, reminiscent of Bedouin tents, stretches high above him. Large glass windows allow the evening light to filter in as the first runway lights begin to blink. People stream in an orderly fashion through the wide corridors between duty-free shops and cafes where the aroma of strong coffee wafts through the air. Helt observes the scene with a sharp gaze, modern, calm, but with an underlying busyness that reminds him of clockwork. After about a half-hour drive, Helt reaches the Four Seasons Hotel in Abdun, Amman. Once in his room, he briefly considers checking mirrors, the phone, and other electronic devices for surveillance equipment. However, his overwhelming fatigue makes him abandon the thought, and he opts instead for the direct route to bed. The following morning, Helt is already seated early with a cup of strong black coffee at the Wild Jordan Center. Using skillful questions, he engages the cafe operator in a conversation about the land and people of Amman, gradually gaining his trust. Suddenly, a young, medium blonde woman with striking green eyes and a stylish headscarf enters the cafe. Her confident stride and elegant appearance immediately draw attention. She heads toward a distinctly decorated table adorned with a magnificent bouquet of flowers and modern bamboo chairs with slender metal legs, as if it was meant just for her. The cafe operator promptly turns away from Helt to warmly greet the woman.
Good morning, Elena. How are you? The usual breakfast as always?
Yes, exactly. I'm doing well when I can be here. You know that. Oh, could you prepare my coffee as a cold brew with date syrup today?
Of course, Elena. Always served especially delicious for you.
Replies the operator in a charming tone. Helt watches the conversation with a subtle smile, remaining silent but attentively following the scene. As he continues to listen, Elena notices his gaze but outwardly shows no interest. Instead, she takes a book from her simple yet color-coordinated bag, removes the bookmark, and leans back comfortably to read. Not long after, the operator personally brings her coffee to the table. As he places the glass in front of her, he leans slightly forward and whispers,
I might have a client for you. The gentleman in the grey jacket at the bar, a German tourist named Enrico Müller, is visiting Amman alone for the first time and might need a local guide.
Elena briefly glances toward the bar, then calmly responds,
If you think so, then feel free to approach him. But please, not too pushy.
No sooner are the words spoken than the operator places a friendly hand on Helt's shoulder and guides him directly to her table.
Good morning. I believe I've already been introduced to you, it seems.
Held greets her and extends his hand. Elena sets her book aside, stands up, and pauses for a brief moment as their gazes meet in a way that seems to signal the cafe operator to refrain from further involvement in the conversation.
Feel free to call me Elena and have a seat with me.
After Helt takes a seat, Elena continues.
My name is Elena Korovin, and more for my own joy than as my profession. I help people discover the surroundings of Amman and its people from a perspective tourists don't usually get to experience.
Interesting. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Elena looks at him with interest.
How come you're traveling alone?
I'm recently divorced and looking for some distraction on this trip. My little daughter, Leah, lives with her mother.
Leah, how lovely. How old is she? And do you maybe have a photo, if I may ask without intruding?
You're not. Here she is. She just turned 3 years old.
He shows Elena a photo of Leah that he carries in his wallet. Elena looks at the photo, then back at Helt.
Leah looks like a child who feels loved and secure. How is it that her father is now sitting alone, thousands of kilometers away, in a cafe in Amman?
Held hesitates slightly, his voice sounding a bit unsteady.
I think it's my job as a field representative for an internationally connected company that led Teresa and me to drift apart. That doesn't change how I feel about my daughter. But the way our marital conflict ended and the skill of her lawyers resulted in me only being able to see her every 2 weeks. With my job, it's even less frequent.
So, it was your job, was it? Your voice tells me this is a difficult topic for you. The bond with Leah, perhaps even with your ex-wife Teresa. In my husband's circles, due to his profession, I often encounter men who outwardly appear tough and invincible. Interestingly, these are often men who, deep inside, fear emotional rejection and abandonment when you get to know them better. They tend to have a rough, impenetrable exterior and subordinate women who obey them unconditionally, perhaps even fear them. That's not the love they might truly desire, but it provides enough security to avoid being left. Some men might even escape into their work to avoid the closeness and commitment they perceive as so threatening. What do you think, Mr. Müller?
Held appears briefly irritated, then changes the subject.
So, what can you show me in Amman, and what is your price?
For you, Mr. Müller, it's free. I don't require any fee, and it would be my pleasure to show you some of the most beautiful aspects of my adopted home.
Elena finishes her drink, stands up from the table, and continues.
Let's meet this afternoon at 3 p.m. right here in front of the Wild Jordan Center.
Gladly. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Elena responds and gives him a look that feels like it reaches into his very core, leaving him momentarily speechless. After Elena leaves the cafe, Helt takes a moment to compose himself, attempting to regain his poise and unwavering professionalism. When he glances over at the cafe operator, the man grins at him, as if he can read his thoughts.